of the United States, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, first up, we have public comment. Mr. Lanahan.
Good evening,
Good
Madam Chair.
evening.
Good evening, directors. I come to you tonight with something I'm really passionate about. It's something I've been working over in my brain for like the last year. In our meetings, we start out with our Pledge of Allegiance, something I'm very proud of our school district to do. And I hope generations to come will continue to do that. Something I've been doing is talking to our graduates, past, present, future, about what they know about our country, mainly the Bill of Rights. I'm getting some really, really dismal results, what they can tell us. I would love for the board to entertain the idea maybe this year to think about maybe installing a little of that in our curriculum somehow, in our history curriculum, in our American studies, all of that. An easy way to do it, I think, is to start with Amendment 1. I mean, I'd like to ask you guys, do you folks know the 5 elements of the First Amendment?
The 5 elements.
Yes. Yeah. So there's a really easy acronym that we could use to teach our students. It's RAPS. So you can go religion, assembly, press, petition, and speech. In our times right now, we are so divided. And I think if we were teaching our children to understand that we have a right to be one way or the other, we have a right to stand and say how we are, how we're not, within legal bounds. I think starting from that point, we can understand each other a lot better. I can remember at one meeting, something Director Lockridge said that really stuck to me. We can disagree on something, but still move forward. And I think we're at such ends these days. I would love to see people understand that we're all the same in this. So I just encourage the board to maybe ask around to students that you know what they know about the Bill of Rights. And hopefully in generations to come, they'll know their Bill of Rights and we'll still have a Bill of Rights. Because the more students that don't know them, the more adults that don't know them, the less we'll have. Other than that, I had a really great time today at the Get Back to School event at the high school. It was well attended. I think we went at like 2 o'clock and the place was packed. I mean, the parking lot was packed. Normally, you know, on a work day, that wouldn't happen until later. So I think it's good things to come. That's all I have.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is consider changes to the agenda. Do we have any changes? Hearing none. Next up, we have action items, recommendation to approve the OSEA contract. And presenter is Miss Ellis.
Hi. Good evening, Board Chair McNeil and directors. I am here tonight to ask for your approval of the collective bargaining agreement for the years 2024 through 2027 between OSEA and the Molalla River School District. We started our bargaining in April and we finished on August 14th. The membership planned to do their ratification vote on September 5th. And I shared with you the tentative agreement summary and the strike-through version of the contract, which are part of Board Book in our executive session this evening. And I wanted to just take a minute to, if you'll indulge me, to name the members of the teams, because people put in a lot of time and effort and attended meetings and worked really hard away from the table, I think, so that our discussions were very collaborative and productive while we were at the bargaining table. So for OSEA, The members were Jennifer James, who is the current OSEA president, Hal Meyer-Dirk, who is a field representative for OSEA, Michelle Bartholomew, who is the vice president in the athletic secretary at Malala High School, Buffy Rodriguez, who is the treasurer and our SPED office manager here in the district office, Emily Dahl, who is their secretary and the head secretary at Rural Dell, Laura Wolf, who is a bargaining team member and an instructional assistant at Malala Elementary, and Nicole Higginbotham, who also was a bargaining team member and an instructional assistant at Malala Elementary. And on the district team, we had our board chair, Amy McNeil, and Linda Eskridge. Andy Campbell, our chief business official, Robin Shobe, our director of student services, Lester Womack, the principal of Malala Elementary School, and our superintendent, Tony Neal. So I just want to again thank all of them for their participation and all their hard work. And
And we thank you.
thank you.
Madam Chair. I move that we ratify the tentative agreement reached from the district and the Malala River Education Association for the 24 to 27 agreement presented.
Do we need to state OSEA?
Yeah,
OSEA.
it's actually the Oregon School Employees Association.
Yes, that.
Okay.
And we had a second, okay,
Yes, I
so
did.
moved in second, any questions? Comments? Okay.
I support the motion. I'm glad that this package will help keep us reasonably competitive with our comparable districts, and we need to focus on that and what it means to have a good culture and an enticing culture for our district. So I'm grateful for the team that put this together.
Okay. So all in favor for approving the OSEA contract between the Malala River School District and OSEA? Raise your right hand. Okay, we're unanimous. Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, next up we have recommendation for approval of the OPSIS contract for architectural services. Presented by Mr. Stewart and Mr. Mann.
Good evening, board.
Hey.
First, I want to thank this proposal review committee again for all their work and hours spent reviewing 4 proposals of architectural firms and then interviewing 2 of those firms and making this recommendation for tonight. We are recommending to the board to approve a professional services agreement for the architectural firm OPSIS Architecture for a not to exceed amount of $6,093,857 for their architectural engineering services for the middle school replacement project.
Does anybody have any questions? Oh, sorry.
Can you remind me what was the scoring, your top 3 scoring criteria that you looked at in evaluating the alternatives?
The top 3?
Yeah, just
Oh,
price,
I'll give you-
quality, reputation.
Let
And
me answer that, but I failed to introduce Bob Collins behind me. Bob Collins is a program manager for the firm you hired a few weeks ago, OTAC Project Management Firm, who was instrumental in working out this agreement with OPSIS. So to answer your question, some of the criteria were K-12 experience, firm experience, their staffing plan, as well as their resumes, the approach to how they would manage and implement the project, energy conservation efforts, and references.
Wow, that was a long list. Yes, go
I
ahead.
just wondered if I could ask a question. It's not so much about the agreement, but I'm curious now knowing that this gentleman is from OTAC. What is the difference between what OTAC does and what the architectural firm does? Can you kind of explain that to me a little bit?
Sure, come on up here, Bob. I have an answer. Let's see if he gets it right.
Sure. Good evening, board,
Maybe.
and happy to be here to help understand a bit more what we do. So we're an owner's representative firm. So we're really on your team as not working as a designer or contractor, because there are many things that from the owner's side, you have to make decisions about, be informed of, avoid risk. And we're there to help Ron and the rest of the leadership team go through all that process. Is what we do with every school district that I work with.
So does your firm do anything with respect to like engineering and any of that stuff, or is it just project management?
So OTAC we're OTAC CPM, Comprehensive Project Management. There is a part of OTAC that is engineering, civil and design, but our little division is just strictly owner's representation, project management services.
Okay. I've seen drawings in the past that had OTAC on them, and so that's where the question comes from. As I was just wondering, you know, about the engineering and all that kind of stuff.
Sure,
Obviously,
so-
that's a different part of the organization then.
It is. We were originally, when I joined, I was with Day CPM, and then Day CPM joined forces with OTAC, which is really a civil design firm.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Does anybody have questions about the contract itself?
Sorry. So based on the not to exceed $6 million spend, does that equate to roughly 20 people working on it? Or help me understand the size of the team that would represent this.
No, that's gonna be really 4 relatively full-time people, who are doing design of the interior, doing all the project management that they do, because there's a lot of work they have to do with the authorities having jurisdiction and meeting with many members of the district here, understanding what the design is. They will have a number of people like interior designers and finishes experts, furniture designers that kind of help in and figure out where furniture is. So on a full-time basis, there's really like 4, but their work is going to extend through 3 years because it's not just the design, but they're involved throughout the construction phase, where they're coming out on a weekly basis, checking on the quality and the conformance to the contract documents, as well as answering all kinds of questions that will come up during the process. So they're very involved throughout, right to the end when we are as well.
Was done right.
That's correct.
Okay.
Sorry, Amy.
No, go ahead.
So this is kind of a question maybe more or as much for Tony as anybody else. I'm just kind of curious about, as the architectural process ensues and continues, to what extent will the district engage the community, the staff and the board in kind of seeing how that process is going and being able to kind of give input apart from this bond oversight committee that's taking place? Because that's just a select group of people all the time. So
Bond initially and generally based on the commitment that we made, and that was exactly that we would engage the public and stakeholders in elements of this. The work plan for that engagement is yet to be developed together with Bob and then the architectural firm. Their facilitation, their work with the district is yet to be determined when and how, those details. So
okay.
if you want to speak to what that has looked like in other districts, but I would just say we're going to be building the plane together here shortly and getting ready to take off.
Okay, thank you.
This is just the next step we gotta take. Any other questions?
I move that we approve the OPSIS contract for architectural services as presented.
Moved and seconded. I don't think we have any other questions, but. Okay, so all in favor for approving the OPSIS contract for architectural services as presented, raise your right hand. Okay, unanimous. Motion passes. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
And thank you to the board members that were involved and the committee members that helped choose that.
From all the others, and I was really grateful we did the interview because initially I really liked what Rick was presenting in their paperwork, but the interview really showed the difference.
Good.
Yeah.
Especially with regard to that public engagement and involvement part of it. They presented a lot more detail than what Tony alluded to, but because he's correct. We don't they don't have the plan, but they did outline a lot more of what is typical, and what their plan will be in developing that plan of community engagement around that design to make sure that if the design fits the community.
Good.
So,
Yeah.
and Ops has probably presented that effort the best, those participating. So anyway,
Very nice. Thank
feel
you for
good
sharing.
about it.
Okay, next up we have information discussion, community eligibility provision, CEP discussion. Mr. Campbell.
Madam Chair, members of the board, thank you. I usually get to bring you boring numbers, tonight something a little different. What is community eligibility provision? In simple terms, it means that every child in the district gets one free lunch and one free breakfast every day of the school year. We meet that requirement because the state lowered the threshold for free and reduced lunch application percentage from 40% to 25%, which means all of our schools across the district meet that threshold. So we elected to opt into the CEP program. The program lasts for 4 years, so we're committed to doing it for 4 years. However, if we do it for the first year and for some reason we don't like it or it's not working out, then we can opt out. As long as we do it by the beginning of the July 1 next year. Does anybody have any questions?
I was actually approached by a community member about this program. What are the criterias? Because this person's issue with it was, okay, here's a person who's, because it's every single student, here's a person who, the adults in the family are making $500,000 a year. Well, why do they all of a sudden get free lunches or free breakfast, free lunch, and who's paying for all of that and whatnot. And it just, because like I said, this person they were upset because this person who was making a significant amount of money was basically on social media bragging about it.
Yeah. Very valid question. Community eligibility provision, CEP, isn't new. If a school is 40% free and reduced lunch application, then that particular school is eligible for the program. So many districts opt in for that for some particular schools. The state lowered that to 25%. So it kind of made the schools automatic eligible if they drop below that 25%.
Are you saying all of our schools will be eligible, not just MES?
All of the schools, including the Malala River Academy.
Well, that's a lot of money.
It
Where's
is,
the
but it
money
doesn't
coming
cost the
from?
district anymore. The federal reimbursement rate is increased up to 90%. So we did a cost analysis with Sodexo and determined that whether we chose to do CEP or not, doesn't cost the district any additional dollars.
So are you saying the food that we'll be receiving is not through Sodexo? Or they're going to be providing it to Sodexo?
No,
too?
our relationship with Sodexo remains the same. It's
Okay.
just our reimbursement rate from the federal government
Got
is
it.
higher.
Okay.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say, philosophically, there is no free lunch. It
Correct.
just means the school district
But I
isn't
think
paying the
it's-
money, but it is coming from federal tax.
Federal.
Yep.
It's through the USDA.
Yeah, so not local taxpayers, federal government.
They sound.
It is all of us.
Yeah.
It's all of us, federal money, state money, it's all of us.
Yeah.
So I read up a little bit on it. I know it's going to save the district as far as, tracking children's lunch accounts and, reminders to the parents of balances and then kids not being able to eat if their balance is low or whatever. So I think in that sense, it's going to make things a lot easier for everybody involved. But I get the concern of taxpayers, just like us that, are wondering where this is coming from. It's coming from the federal government, but it's coming out of our pockets, but Just completely lost my train of thought.
I have one more question. How long will this program last?
4 years.
4 years.
And then we get reevaluated. And if we meet the same criteria, then it will continue for another 4 years.
But you did say we could opt out of it.
Mhm.
I believe it says what, June 30th of each year?
Yes.
Yeah. So if we want, it's a 4-year contract, but we can, at the end of the first year, as long as we don't let them know by June 30th, we don't want to participate anymore. We just back out,
Yeah, that's
Right.
correct.
go back to the way we were.
But would there be any difference for opting out of all children getting free breakfast or lunch? And it's only costing us
I'm
like
not saying-
10% whatever our bill is, yeah.
No, I'm just answering the question about how long it lasts.
What kind of dollars are we talking about here? So what were we paying Sodexo and with the reimbursement? And what does it jump to now with the reimbursement?
I can give you exact numbers from that.
Do you have a
Yeah.
ballpark?
I don't want to speculate. without-
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
Do you want to just send that to us in an email?
I can, absolutely.
What would the criteria be for opting out?
There is no criteria for opting out. It's just a decision the district will make.
Okay.
Administratively discussing this, this crossroads is the same crossroads lots of districts in the state are crossing right now, given the recent federal, change in the federal threshold. I was on the news just yesterday, I was on the radio yesterday a lot. It's a discussion that's happening. I think really that question of, do we have students who come to school hungry? Even though we have between 30 and 60% of our kids who are eligible for a free or reduced lunch, are there kids on the margin? Are there kids do we have kids that have hunger as a barrier to learning? We do. And really the question of being able to eliminate that barrier. It's not under our control whether or not, parents remember to, Lord knows I forgot to fill my kid's account, or pack a, right? We can't control that piece. The piece we could control is whether or not children had food in their tummies to learn that day. And so made the decision to move forward this year. Again, every year we'll come back and talk about what that means for us. And I fully respect, and we talked about that too. At the end of the day, it's taxpayer money, whether it's, local taxpayer money or federal taxpayer money. So.
I would say there are advantages or benefits and costs, I guess. Obviously, one of the costs is it's taxpayer money and, we all pay for it. But there are also benefits as well, just like you were just alluding to, Tony. There are those kids on the margins where their families ordinarily might make too much to qualify for the free and reduced lunch, even though they can't afford to buy lunch for their kids, right? Or so, there are things like that. And so philosophically, you kind of have to decide. I mean, that's just one of many factors or benefits or whatever. Is it more important to get those kids on the margin than to worry about the kids? Nothing personal, Rob, but from the $500,000 a year families, we each have to make our own decision about that. But I personally think it probably is.
I'd like to make a comment. Of all the opportunities for waste and abuse of our taxpayer dollars, I don't see that this is actually one of them. I don't think Congress is going to lower our taxes if we choose to opt out. And to see this to be a benefit in our community and to our children in this community, I think.
Yeah.
Finally, they're doing something right for the right people with our money instead of a lot of the other things they do. So.
Agreed. Okay, any other questions? Comments?
I'll get those numbers to you. And if you have any other questions, just feel free to reach out.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. All right. Moving along. School opening activities, Mr. Mann.
Thank you, Chair McNeil, directors. Just a couple of invitations, couple of updates. Some of this is repetition year after year. We have some of these same pieces and some of it's new. One of the pieces that's a repetition is Celebrate Malala. We had board members come join administrators and others in staffing or personing our booth this last summer in 2021 3 in partnership with the boosters. I was really glad. That was our second year doing it arm in arm with the boosters. We're doing that again here this year and would welcome any board members who would like to join. I'll be there with, like I said, boosters. Our athletic director will be coming and going. We'll have varsity athletes. There's prizes for small children. Boosters will be selling their gear. Just an opportunity to be present in the community. We will also have one of our signs out there that talks about the bond that says "Thank you, voters" across the top. And I'll be there answering questions that people have about the timeline, the work we've done to date to be on time and under budget on the building of our new middle school. So if you'd like to join, would love to have your company. Number 2, speaking of boosters and athletics, our first home athletic events are on the 5th and 6th of September. We got volleyball and soccer on Thursday, the 5th, varsity football on the 6th. If board members want to join, I think that's always a great place to be there. We have an all district welcome back for all of our employees next Tuesday. Would welcome any of you to come join lunch. We've done it at breakfast time. We've done it at lunchtime. This year we're doing it at lunchtime. It'll start at 10:30 with some welcome comments from myself, some recognition of employees' years of service. I'll have some opening comments on the school year, and then we'll break for lunch. You're welcome to join. It'll be all of our employees classified license K through 12 at the high school in the auditorium at 10:30 on Tuesday. And lots of preparation in professional development and reading, professional development in curriculum alignment, all that teacher prep, and then getting their classrooms ready. Next week is full. And then children arrive that very next week. So yeah, well, Celebrate Malala would love to have board members join. Athletics varsity events, JV events on the 5th and the 6th, and then all district welcome back next Tuesday, 10:30. Lunch will be served.
This Saturday, Celebrate Malala?
It is just
Okay.
couple
And
days
what
from now.
time are you gonna be
11
there?
to 6.
11 to 6, thank you.
Out at Clark Park.
I think last time we had kind of sign up times to be there, but are you good with if anybody just shows up whenever to help?
I think board members were interested in signing up for just an hour and a half window. So we had a board member there the whole time. Terrific. But I defer to the board on that.
Okay.
We can send a sign up around if you'd like.
Sure. That's good. Okay. Thank you. And next up, we have bond update.
Yeah. I'll take that one too. Chair McNeil and directors, I have an update for you. And I've got just my talking points here because I'm not expert in this space. We're going to have the experts come back and talk with the board at some point and answer any questions that you have. But I'm going to work from my talking points here. The district yesterday morning between 7 and 8:30 a.m. sold $77.46 million in voter approved bond. The sale went extremely well, and the overall demand for our bonds vastly outstripped the availability. In fact, the district's bonds on average had over 7 orders for every maturity, meaning that our underwriter, Piper Sandler, was able to reduce the interest rates over the initial offering. Market conditions were such that investors were willing to pay a premium price to receive our bonds. As a result, the district will receive approximately $7 million in additional proceeds that can be used as contingency for projects approved by the voters in the ballot title. Even with that $7 million premium, the projected bond levy remains at the exact same level estimated on the ballot title of $1.55 per thousand tax assessed value. These aren't my words. These are Piper Sandler's words. These stellar results were due in large part to the district's excellent financial management, leading to the credit rating level of A+ from S&P Global. In their rating report issued August 9th, S&P highlighted that the district's operations have significantly outperformed budget projections the last several years due to strong fiscal practices. The district's rating is also buoyed by its favorable debt profile, even when including the newly authorized bonds. S&P also noted the healthy economy in Clackamas County and the district's advantageous location between the state's 2 largest economic centers, Portland and Salem. Bonds were made available for purchase by local investors through individual money managers and brokers, and the district is expected to close on those bonds and receive funds on September 5th. And the last bullet here, I didn't write either, but I'm still going to read it. It says, let the new middle school construction begin. So,
That is exciting.
yeah, good news.
Yeah.
Got up late that morning to watch the sale go for an hour and a half and it was exciting.
Very nice.
I took pictures of all of it.
The bond oversight committee, I had somebody ask me, they applied many months ago. And they haven't heard an update. Are we gonna have an agenda item to appoint them or?
That's out in September. Andrea was taking some time this week.
Okay.
Well deserved vacation. She's back next week and we're gonna be, that's our next item of attack, is making sure that committee is convened and that the charter for that group is established.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Was that person on the list that she provided?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
Thanks for letting me know that people are asking.
Yeah.
So question, if I'm understanding you right, now we have an extra $7 million that we can work with? So over the 77 million, we have a 7 million more plus the 6 million from the Awesome grant. So instead of having 77 million, we effectively have $90 million that we can work with for the school.
Yes.
Nice.
And it allows us the opportunity to take, as we have always done, take a conservative posture in protecting both our assets and keeping our promise to be on time and under budget. So having that contingency available is a benefit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's incredible. And we only have to pay the original 77 million.
There's no additional debt and the rate for the voters remains the same at $1.55.
Awesome. How about a hoorah for Rick Hill and Andy?
Yes.
Is that something that's gonna be like announced to the
It should be.
people? Because I mean, that would make people get them excited.
Yeah, we wanted to report it to you this evening in your public meeting first. And Andrea's already been drafting the press release that'll go out on Monday next week.
You're good, you're good.
Well, Rob, it's board comment time, so. Got anything to report?
Not report, but I just wanted to say, thank you to Jimmy about his comments again tonight about I don't know if I haven't looked at our curriculum lately, but we had a government class when I was in high school that taught us this kind of stuff. And, you know, what he was talking about, the going around and talking to students and whatnot. That's part of the reason I decided I wanted to become a board member, was because I was seeing it wasn't locally me going around and asking it, but it was videos that I was seeing online during the pandemic when I had to sit there because I couldn't work because I was unessential. And so I was seeing all these students that, you know, people, it wasn't just young people, it was, you know, people in their 20s and 30s that couldn't answer basic questions about our country, you know, and I think that's something that definitely we need to look into and make sure that if we don't have that program, I think we need to look into putting it back into the curriculum. And I question why it was taken out too. But that's the only thing I have to say. And thank you, Jimmy, for bringing that to us.
Yeah.
There, as a former 8th grade language arts social studies teacher myself, I taught the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. A lot of it was knowledge and a lot of it was then project based, where kids were debating the merits of different perspectives on those, you know, on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. That's part of our, you know, statewide 8th grade curriculum standards are rooted in U.S. history. And then in high school, U.S. history is also included as a required graduate, required course for graduation. No doubt kids don't remember. I know, no doubt that kids don't always, you know, pick up and hold on to those pieces. I think the challenge is, you know, how do we teach in ways that inspire kids to, you know, hold on to that knowledge. So yes, it is part of our curriculum, but it doesn't mean that Jimmy isn't exactly right, right? That he's talked with kids who don't have that knowledge or memory.
Yeah, like I said, we had a specific you know, a whole semester of just specifically government. It's, you know, Bill of Rights, it's the Declaration of Independence, how our government works, all the different branches and whatnot, but this is what you're saying, it's just included in the history curriculum and probably is not not imposed, that's not the word, but
Is it taught?
is it taught heavily and heavily focused on?
Civics, that half a semester or that one term, government class is an elective. But US history is also part of it's typically taken by sophomores, if I remember correctly. I've called up the state standards for social studies and I'll find those references and I can email them to you as well.
Are you saying it's only an elective? It's not a required class?
Civics is an elective course. Required is world history. Required is US history. And then our district also has 3 credits, I think, 3. Well, I'm getting out on a limb.
So you
We
said
require
US history.
more social studies credits to graduate from Molalla High School than the Oregon diploma requires. So,
Well, I reviewed those books and they have the Bill of Rights and they
Yep.
have the Constitution. And it was very well written. And so I thought, they should be really up on the United States growth and our founding fathers and all that. So they couldn't even answer who the founding fathers were or anything. Oh, my God.
Not every kid's gonna.
Yeah, not,
Yeah, okay, well, it needs to
Most
be
people are
focused
just
on
trying to get
because
through high
it
school.
is in our curriculum. I checked out all this curriculum personally.
Yeah.
And it's there. You.
Yeah,
checked
we
it
did
out.
too.
Yeah. Took off there. So.
Anyway, sorry,
should be taught.
those are my comments for tonight. And I'm excited about hearing about the sale of the bonds. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Linda.
that was my speech.
Oh, that was your
That-
speech.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've checked the curriculum. It's there. It's just, is it being taught, and then if it's not required, it's no wonder they don't know it. It is required.
grade that one of the standards, the first standard is to identify and understand how to apply the rights and responsibilities of individuals under the Constitution. So rights and responsibilities tied to Bill of Rights. So it is there. The where and how it's taught. I think inviting maybe some social studies teachers to share with the board what we're doing in civics later this school year would be a great opportunity.
Okay, and I got a chance to see the sale of the bonds and it was exciting and I took pictures of everything I could because I'm not fast enough writing it. Initially, I was trying to write down the numbers of the companies that were buying the bonds. Okay, this is not working. I just started taking pictures. So I had a lot of fun. Okay, go ahead, your turn.
I had a very fun experience out at the Clackamas County Fairground, working for the Republican Party's booth there. I was amazed, as Jimmy's talking about kids, how many students, how many children from elementary school to high school that were excited about government and politics. I was excited to see Molalla students with their caps and their gears on, and these kids do know their politics. They know left from right, wrong from bad, and they were excited about it, very enthusiastic. They wanted information. It didn't matter who said it, how it was. I even asked about the high school students, what their impression was of our high school. And they had great things to say about our principal. And they had great things to say about the school. And I says, well, I'm very glad to hear that. I did not say who I was or that I was part of school board because I just want the kids to be open. So that was fun. I think that was my biggest take out of last week. Even in the rainstorm, we did it with the rain.
Oh.
We had a puddle.
Yeah.
Even though they closed the fairground, they opened it up. It was fun to see kids running around with the American flag. It didn't matter what their thought process was. It was just, they were patriotic and they like our school. They really did
awesome.
like the high school. So
Good.
Mr. Atherton is doing a good job there. They did say he was open, he was friendly, and he gave the kids an opportunity to speak if they had an issue. His doors open to them. So that was really nice to hear because I don't get to hear that from the kids too much. so.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Okay.
If I may, quick comment on a question. The comment is that I was educated in another century. And my elementary education was also in another state. But my recollection from my childhood was that we got history education at multiple levels throughout the sort of educational K through 12 curriculum. And at that time, fourth grade was California history, fifth grade was US history. Then you went to junior high school, grades 7 through 9, where you may have had other history classes. I remember I took history of Africa as one of them, and I can't remember what else. I mean, it was 3 years of school. But then when I got into 10th grade, you also had to take US history again. But most importantly, going back to the comments tonight, I remember very distinctly, I don't know why I've retained this all these years ago, but part of our US history curriculum in fifth grade was all about the founding of the country. I mean, not entirely but it was about the founding of the country and the Bill of Rights. We didn't talk about any of the other amendments, I don't believe, but the first 10, we did, and we learned what they were about. And, now it's all these years later, I've forgotten all half of them or whatever, but I can't tell you what number's what, except for the First Amendment. I know that one. Anyway, but I don't know how much education has changed since then. I suspect not a lot, because I mean, the history kind of stays the same. But anyway, there's that. My question is about and Lori, I may have forgotten what some text message you sent me or whatever, but do we not have a policy committee meeting this month?
No.
We don't. Okay.
It's postponed to
So the next
September.
one is in September. Okay. I'll take that off my calendar then.
I was just going to talk about the all district welcome. I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it. I'm gonna do my best to make it there, but I won't be able to speak there. So if anybody would like to take my place and speak up, I mean, not take my place, but be there to represent the board and speak to the all district. Wanna go, Craig?
Oh,
It's
I'm
Tuesday
sorry.
at 10:30.
I was taking that off my calendar.
It's all district welcome, right? That's what it's called.
At 10:30 in the morning.
Yes, on
Yeah,
Tuesday.
as much as I'd like to, unfortunately I can't.
Yeah.
For two reasons. Number one, I'm getting a crown replaced that came out last night, and the other one is that I've got to be at work. So,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
Okay, any other?
Although if anybody else
We
wanted
can
to
have
go,
more
that'd
than
be
one
wonderful.
person. Okay. So if you wanna,
Or nobody?
no, it's you.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
I'm retired, not retarded.
Thank you, Linda, for volunteering. I don't think I have anything else. other than that.
My apologies on probably not being able to make it either to the welcome, because this maternity leave thing has, got me in a quandary, so kind of holding down a lot of jobs at the moment. But back to Celebrate Malala. I do encourage everyone if not to necessarily go hang out at the district booth. Because I found last year they just had it covered and were engaging people very well and right and left. And but it's definitely a show worth going to. This year I know they've got every booth sold out. Like in the first 2 weeks, it was just like they've got over 100 booth spaces. Concert all day long. I think it's going to be a pretty big show. They also moved it now that we are going to have cool weather from here on out. They moved it to be under the shade of the Grove because last year it was like 104 and everybody about died out because they had it right out in the open in the middle of the field in Clark Park, and so we're going to be smart. We're going to move it under so that way they invited rain. So anyway, it's not supposed to rain Saturday, but it's going to be cool. But my wife will make me be there for part of it. I know.
For those that were on the board right before COVID, there was the issue of, there was a little bit of curiosity or suspicion within the community about what was being taught in history. And right before COVID hit, we had talked about let's showcase, let's be transparent about this is what's being taught, have it in a work session. And I really like that idea, just not only to bring us up to speed, but just be transparent with the community. This is what is happening in your classroom. So I would support that.
That's good. Okay, upcoming meetings, we have business meeting September twelfth, 7 p.m. district office, work session September 26th at 7 p.m. district office. And policy committee meeting September 24th at 6 p.m. district office. Anybody want to make a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, raise your right hand. We are adjourned. Thank you.
It's unanimous.
Well, congrats again.
Thank you.